So in life, we want to be winners, but I'll be damned, in a game of fat loss, we all want to be called a loser. What's happening, guys? Hope your day is going well. Today we're going to review two products by InnovaPharm. We got NovaBurn 2.0, the stimulant and non-stimulant version. But we're going to go over the stimulant version, but we'll compare both of them. We're going to go over the ingredients so you know what you're putting in your body, and we'll go over my personal experience on this. So jumping right into this, we're going to put the ingredient profile in front of me and start talking about this. This is supposed to be multiple pathway fat metabolizer. So let's see how much thought they put in this to hit those multiple pathways. So we have 3 capsules. Servings per container is 30. The way you're supposed to take this is the way they suggest to take this on the ingredient profile is 3 capsules daily. And that's whether you combine both of these, like if you don't want as much stimulation, and keep in mind there's stimulants in this one as well, which is a non-stimulant one. We'll talk about this, but it's very, very light, very light. But you can combine both of these. You can take one of these, one of those, and then one of those at the end of the day if you don't want a lot of stimulants, or you can take 2 of these before training, and you can take one of those to take later on in the day if you don't want stimulants later on in the day. So all depends. So it's nice. They make 2 different versions. You can buy them both. You can kind of mix and match and play around with the dosages because the main structure of the profiles is pretty much the same. It's just little tweaks here and there. So jumping right into the ingredients here, we have Syntrol X Pure 900 milligrams. It's a whopping dose there. I think the daily dose is like 650 milligrams. So they're actually really dosing it up here. So this is a PDE inhibitor. Now on their site, they say this is a PDE3 inhibitor, but this is a combination of naringin and hesperidin. I have never heard of naringin or hesperidin being PDE3 inhibitors. So I don't know where they're getting this from, but it doesn't matter because naringin is a PDE1 inhibitor, which is similar to a PDE3 inhibitor. And it's also a PDE4 and a PDE5 inhibitor. And hesperidin is a PDE4 and a PDE5 inhibitor. So, hey, if you're thinking about it, it all works out whether the information is correct or not. And PDE inhibitors need to be in a product that's going to dilate those blood vessels, or it's trying to activate CAMP, which is cyclic AMP within a cell, which is a progressive process that happens in the cell. When ATP is produced, there's a pathway ATP hits, turns into cyclic AMP, and then protein kinase A is activated. And then from that effect, it activates another enzyme that the lipids are trapped in, and then that activation with some phosphorate transferring, it activates 3 different mechanisms on the outside of a cell, and it starts to cleave off the 3 lipid structures of a triglyceride, tri-3, and starts to move them outside of the cell into the bloodstream so we can use this as energy. And then there is some fat loss there. And the reason why we need a PDE inhibitor is because during this process, when ATP is turned into CAMP, if we don't block or inhibit PDE enzymes, it's going to gobble up cyclic AMP. And all you hear is cyclic AMP going, oh my God, I'm dead. And then we don't have this transfer of fat loss, vasodilation, and the other things that can happen when we take this product. So moving on, we have natural caffeine, 300 milligrams. The only difference between natural caffeine and caffeine anhydrous, in my personal opinion, is the way it hits. Natural caffeine's a lot smoother and a lot longer. Caffeine anhydrous is great for pre-workouts because it hits higher and harder and then drops off. So that's the only difference to me. 300 milligrams of caffeine, plus the Syntrol has actually 3.5% caffeine in it as well. So we have close to 3 milligrams there. Can't forget that. Then we have InnoSlim at 250 milligrams. This is a great ingredient because it reduces the caloric absorption of calories into fat cells. It increases the release of the hormone adiponectin, which is going to encourage some glucose gobbling up and some fatty acid gobbling up to help break them down. And this has been shown to switch on the master regulating hormone for energy within a cell, AMPK. Moving on. Then we have bitter orange extract, 100 milligrams. So this has a combination of pisonephrine and octopamine in it. Now these are both beta-2 receptor agonists. So what that's going to do is that's going to spike or encourage norepinephrine within the body. And when norepinephrine is going around in the body and it attaches to adipose cells or adipose tissue, it activates CAMP. And we already have the PDE inhibitors here. So CAMP's going to turn into protein kinase A, then it's going to go and cleave the 3 fatty strains off of the triglyceride. And there we have lipid mobilization within the blood for energy and fat loss. Then we have theobromine, 100 milligrams. This is a good vasodilator. It's a cousin to caffeine. It does have a nice stimulatory effect, especially when coupled with caffeine. 100 to 200 milligrams is actually pretty damn good. So this is going to help with a diuretic effect as well. So I like them putting in this for the diuretic effect. You can use dandelion leaf as well, but this has multiple functions for vasodilation along with the CAMP, blood flow, energy production, and everything. So great ingredient there. Good dose. Then we have Capsi Max at 50 milligrams. Good ingredient. This activates non-shivering thermogenesis. So what that means is basically it uncouples proteins in a mitochondria. By doing that, I think it's proteins 1 and proteins 3, which are both in brown adipose tissue, which is a great target because white adipose tissue is super hard to burn. So we want to get rid of that brown adipose tissue. That's the easiest and the quickest fat loss energy production that we can grab on. So by activating that, it actually stops the production of ATP within the mitochondria. And then what happens is when that production stops, the cell is like, all right, we need energy. So it opens up a channel to shuttle in hydrogens within the cell. And when the hydrogens go in there, they're just like positive ions that actually just ramp up the energy within inside of it. And it just creates a ramping up of a thermogenic effect within the cell, activating cyclic AMP, cyclic GMP, all kinds of different actions. AMPK switches on, protein kinase A. So we got a lot of cellular action within the adipose tissue is what we want. Then we have calorie burn GP. GP stands for grains of paradise. So grains of paradise is a great ingredient because it takes that white adipose tissue that's hard to burn that we just talked about in the Capsimax and turns it into brown adipose tissue over a period of time. So it's not going to happen like that, but over a period of time that'll happen. So as you're burning brown adipose tissue taking this product, and over the days and the month that you're taking this thing, you're hoping to transfer the white adipose tissue, which is hard to burn, into that brown adipose tissue, continuing to take the product and hopefully losing more fat. And then we have estrogen here at 25 milligrams. This helps with the digestion of everything. Great ingredient. Also helps with inflammation. Then we have biopreme, which is another ingredient at 10 milligrams. I like that 25 and 10. I actually prefer 50 and 5, but who am I? But biopreme actually slows down the traveling of the calories in the food we eat as it hits the small intestines to allow the body to absorb the nutrients as they are slowly creeping through the intestinal tract. So, InnovaPharm, NovaBurn 2.0 stimulant version. Real quick, going over the differences on this. So, this is supposed to be a non-stimulant version, but this does have Central in it. Now, Central has, I think it's 3 to 3.5% caffeine in it. So being on the real here, you do have like 3 milligrams of caffeine in this, which is nothing. An extra is in this one here, which is one of my favorite ingredients. This is going to activate cognitive function and attention. 300 milligrams. It's going to feel like a stimulatory effect. So I like this. I played around with both of these. That's the only difference within the two products. So it doesn't have caffeine like the stimulatory one, and it doesn't have theobromine, but what they have is they have an extra for the cognitive function and focus. I really enjoy taking 1 and 1 during training cardio because a little bit of caffeine and a little bit of stimulatory effect in this off of 1 pill with the extra really just dials you in for some steady state cardio. I mean, you're just like zoned, you're targeted. It's a really good hit. And then if you don't want a stimulatory effect later on in the day, you take the non-stim version, then it'll give you a little bit of targeted focus. I suggest if you are on a fat loss journey and you want to lose fat and you're looking into something like this. Now just keep in mind, diet has to be in check. Everything's got to be in check because there is no magic pill out there that's going to cause you to lose weight. This is not the magic lamp and Aladdin's not going to pop out where you can make a wish to lose weight. You have to put the work in. You have to exercise. You have to lower your calories. So combining both of these, in my opinion, is the best way to run these because then you have the option of just kind of playing around with it. Stimulatory, non-stimulatory. And you can take this whenever you want. On a day off of not training, you can take the non-stimulatory version so you can continue taking this for 30 days if you don't want stimulants on the non-training day. Guys, do you have any questions or comments? Leave them down below. Talk to you guys next time.